I think it has a little bit of everything. It's a throwback, but then again, it's modern because you have the young Expendables.
Sylvester Stallone isn't just an action hero. He's a cultural powerhouse. Rocky's grit and Rambo's fury live forever. And when Expendables jammed every big screen bruiser into one movie, crowds roared louder than a stadium. But away from the spotlight, another kind of fight erupted. Stallone versus Bruce Willis. And it spilled onto Twitter for all to see. Stallone finally drew a hard line, vowing never to share a set with Willis again. The drama felt bigger than any blockbuster. Yet to understand their clash, we have to rewind to Stallone's very first round in life. One that started in the rough streets of Hell's Kitchen. Sylvester Gardenzio Stallone arrived on July 6, 1946, in a New York neighborhood famous for brawls and broken dreams. His mother, Jackie, promoted women's wrestling, while his father, Frank Sr., styled hair after emigrating from Italy. Even little brother Frank would chase fame through music and film. But Sylvester's entry into the world turned tragic almost instantly. Forceps damaged a facial nerve during delivery, freezing the left side of his mouth. The drooping lip and slurred speech made young Sylvester an easy target for schoolyard tormentors. Yet instead of hiding, he hit the weights and chased acting to prove everyone wrong. His mom dreamed of Tyrone, honoring Tyrone Power, but Dad demanded Sylvester. Classmates mocked him as Binky, then Mike, then Stinky, yet none of those tags could pin him down. He always aimed higher, no matter what people called him. Infancy saw him bounce through foster homes and boarding houses. Later moves dragged the family to Maryland and Washington, D.C. Dad opened a beauty school. Mom launched a women's gym. Divorce ripped the household again, and by 15 he chose to live with his mother in Philadelphia. Another city, another fresh start. Teachers called him restless. Classmates even voted him most likely to end up in the electric chair. Still, he survived Notre Dame Academy, Abraham Lincoln High, and Charlotte Hall Military Academy. The dream? Acting. And it burned hotter with every obstacle. He bounced from Miami-Dade College to the American College of Switzerland, then back to the States to study drama at the University of Miami in 1967. Money was scarce. Pride was high, yet the diploma could wait. Real-world auditions beckoned. Before fame, Mike Stallone scraped by in a 1968 campus play, That Nice Boy. A year later, he and friend John Hertzfeld shot A Shoestring Short Call Horses. But desperation hit a brutal peak in 1970, forcing a choice that would haunt tabloid headlines for decades. Flat broke, evicted, and sleeping in a bus depot, he accepted a softcore role in a party at Kitty and studs for just 2 days' pay. It was either do that movie or rob someone, because I was at the end, the very end of my rope, he later confessed. When success struck, producers re-released a flick as Italian Stallion to cash in on his rising star. He performed in the edgy play Score, shared a cramped New York apartment with waitress Sasha Zack, shoveled lion cages at the zoo, and ushered in a theater, until management caught him scalping tickets. Nights often ended at the library, where Edgar Allan Poe's dark tales stoked his imagination. In 1972, after failing to land even an extra slot in The Godfather, he scored 2 blink-and-you'll-miss-him appearances in What's Up, Doc? With Barbara Streisand. Spirits dipped, until a casting agent spotted him in a tiny off-Broadway play and shouted, "You're perfect for Stanley in The Lords of Flatbush." Budget chaos stalled filming for years, but when the movie finally premiered in 1974, audiences noticed a brooding newcomer. Stallone's foot was officially in the door, and he refused to let it slam shut. He headlined No Place to Hide, a thriller later retitled Rebel, then chopped up into a spoof of Man Called Rainbow, an editing circus that could have crushed morale. Stallone laughed it off and hustled harder. Bit parts racked up. MASH, Bananas, Clute, The Prisoner of Second Avenue, where Jack Lemmon's frantic character literally tackles Stallone on screen. Each blink-long cameo kept the rent paid and the dream flickering. By 1975, he'd squeeze into Farewell, My Lovely, Capone, Death Race 2000, plus TV hits like Police Story and Kojak. Rumor whispers claim he filmed a scene for Mandingo 2. If so, it landed on the cutting room floor. Roll by roll, paycheck by paycheck, the underdog from Hell's Kitchen clawed towards cinematic history. The world hadn't met Rocky yet, but the fighter behind it was almost ready to throw the punch that would change everything. Sylvester Stallone dashes off a script called Rocky, and overnight the world of movies flips upside down. In 1976, audiences met Rocky Balboa, the underdog boxer punching his way from Philadelphia's gutters to a title bout, and they cheered like never before. Stallone's spark came after he watched Muhammad Ali face Chuck Wepner on March 24th, 1975, and the idea burned so hot he hammered out the first draft in just 3 feverish days. Rumors raised that Rocky stole from Wepner's life, yet Stallone swore it didn't. So Wepner marched court anyway. Eventually, both sides settled behind closed doors. Movie buffs also whispered that the tale echoed Somebody Up There Likes Me or Rocky Graziano's book, but none of that slowed Stallone's charge. He shopped the script with a single rule. He would play Rocky or nobody would. Studios begged for safe stars like Robert Redford or Burt Reynolds, but Stallone dug in his heels until producers caved, trimmed the budget, and rolled cameras. When Rocky premiered Heart soared, critics raved, and Roger Ebert even crowned Stallone the next Marlon Brando. By 1977, he stood at the Oscars as only the 3rd person ever nominated for Best Actor and Best Screenplay in the same year. But the bell hadn't rung yet. Another larger-than-life hero waited in the wings, ready to charge out of the jungle and onto every screen on Earth. In 1982, First Blood exploded into cinemas, with Stallone playing a haunted Vietnam vet who couldn't escape battle even on American soil. The raw emotion launched a 5-film saga that stretched from 1982 to 2019 and branded Rambo as a face of relentless survival. By 1984, Hollywood planted a star with Stallone's name on the Walk of Fame, cementing him as pure action royalty. Through the 80s and 90s, he headlined smash hits Cobra, Tango and Cash, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, The Specialist, and paychecks rocketed until he ranked among the highest-paid actors alive. Crowds loved watching Stallone square off with muscle-packed newcomer Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the pair battled for bragging rights film after film. Stallone laced up the gloves again for Rocky Balboa in 2006 and strapped the bandana back on for Rambo in 2008. Proving age couldn't dull his punch. Then he hatched a wild idea: pack every 80s tough guy into one movie and call it The Expendables. In 2015, Stallone stepped aside as fighter and became mentor, guiding Apollo Creed's son in Creed. Viewers loved the heartfelt twist. The film became a knockout hit. Stallone grabbed his first Golden Globe, and the Academy nominated him again, exactly 40 years after his first Rocky nod. Not finished, he blasted into the Marvel Universe as Takar Ogord in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, then soared back in Volume 3, proving he could trade boxing rings for deep space without missing a beat. Filmed in 2009 and unleashed on August 13, 2010, The Expendables rolled out with Stallone writing, directing, and leading as Barney Ross, commander of a rowdy squad of mercenaries. Audiences got an all-star fistful: Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Terry Crews, Mickey Rourke, Randy Couture, Eric Roberts, Stone Cold Steve Austin, plus cameos from Bruce Willis and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Opening weekend thundered past $34 million, the biggest launch of Stallone's career. Behind the fireworks, Brazilian company O2 Filmes cried foul, claiming it still waited on $2 million for location work. Even so, 2012's The Expendables 2 roared louder, scoring 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, compared with the first film's 41%. Chuck Norris and Jean-Claude Van Damme joined the chaos, and bullets rained like confetti. That same year, Stallone flexed different muscles, co-writing a Broadway musical version of Rocky that punched emotions instead of enemies. In 2013, he headlined Bullet to the Head, reunited with Schwarzenegger for Prison Thriller Escape Plan, and traded blows with Robert De Niro in Grudge Match, a playful nod to the old Rocky days. He also penned Home Front for Jason Statham, never letting the typewriter cool. The 2014 sequel welcomed Wesley Snipes, Antonio Banderas, Mel Gibson, and Harrison Ford. Yet ticket sales slid and critics groaned. Still, the stumble couldn't dent Stallone's reputation. Fans hailed him as the architect of modern action heroes. He dipped into comedy with Oscar and Stop, or My Mom Will Shoot, proving he'd risk embarrassment to keep surprising audiences. In 1997, he stunned critics by gaining weight for gritty drama Copland, playing an ordinary sheriff with extraordinary courage, and many applauded the transformation. In 2022, he fronted Crime's saga Tulsa King, showing he can command television as easily as film. Offset he paints, collects art, and authors fitness books, forever chasing fresh challenges. Stallone's private life rivals any script, filled with love, tragedy, and second chances. His first marriage to Sasha Zack in 1974 brought 2 sons. Sage Moonblood, born 1976 and lost to heart disease in 2012, and Sergio, born 1979 and diagnosed early with autism. The couple parted on Valentine's Day 1985. 10 months later, Stallone wed model actress Bridget Nielsen on December 15th, 1985, and tabloid cameras flashed nonstop until their split 2 years later. In 1988, he met model Jennifer Flavin, but storms rolled in when he told her in 1994 that another model, Janice Dickinson, was expecting his child. DNA proved otherwise, engagement shattered, and a brief fling with Angie Everhart followed before Stallone and Flavin reunited. They wedded in May 1997 and welcomed 3 daughters, Sophia, Sistine, and Scarlett, who later shared the stage as Golden Globe ambassadors at the 74th ceremony. After 25 years, Flavin filed for divorce on August 19th, 2022. Yet 1 month later, on September 23rd, the pair stunned everyone by reconciling. Stallone remains close to younger brother Frank, a singer who also powers many of his soundtracks. Frank's song Far From Over climbed to number 10 on U.S. charts in 1983 and still fires up training montages everywhere. Magazine covers, late-night interviews, and worldwide headlines chased Stallone after Rocky triumphed. Kids shadowbox in alleys, gyms filled with dreamers, and every struggling actor suddenly believed lightning could strike them too. Army surplus stores emptied overnight as fans copied the Lone Warrior, who refused to break. Veterans wrote letters thanking Stallone for giving their silent pain a voice, while critics argued about whether the film was patriotic, tragic, or somehow both. Studio executives studied his box office math. Big muscles plus bigger heart equaled record profits, and soon greenlit waves of high-octane scripts chasing the Stallone formula. For every role, he tortured his body, running stadium steps at dawn, gulping raw eggs, and sparring until his ribs screamed. Crew members whispered about 4 a.m. workouts and wild stunt demands, yet he claimed pain kept him honest. When the Rocky musical opened, theater critics expected a gimmick, but many left with tears in their eyes after Eye of the Tiger thundered to the orchestra pit. Stallone grinned from the audience like a proud parent watching a shy child conquer stage fright. Not every movie landed its punch. Audiences yawned at some mid-90s titles, but every stumble taught him something new about story, stamina, or simple humility. He called those seasons my extra rounds and vowed never to quit mid-fight. When cameras stop rolling, he retreats to a studio filled with giant canvases, slashing bold strokes of red and black across portraits of heroes and monsters alike. Collectors pay fortunes, but he insists painting is therapy, not business. Stallone often mentors young actors, telling them the words he scribbled back in 1975. Keep punching until the final bell. Many say that pep talk kept him from quitting the industry during dark days. Writing Rocky in 3 sleepless nights, forging Rambo in fire, and uniting old warriors in the Expendables, Sylvester Stallone keeps throwing punches no matter the odds. Every time the bell rings, he proves the fight is far from over. You may have caught a glimpse of Frank in Sylvester's films, especially in the Rocky series where he sang on the streets and even contributed songs to the soundtrack. He wasn't chasing fame like his brother, but he was always around, quietly part of the legacy. Then came 2012, a year filled with heartbreak. First, Stallone's half-sister Toni Infelitti died of lung cancer at just 48. The same year, Stallone suffered an even deeper blow, the death of his son, Sage Stallone. The pain was unimaginable. Losing 2 family members so close together shook the foundation of his world. One of Stallone's closest early friends in the industry was actor Joe Spinell. They worked side by side in multiple films, but during the intense shoot of Nighthawks in 1981, their bond crumbled. Whatever happened on that set ended their collaboration for good. Spinell died in 1989, leaving behind a fractured friendship that never got closure. Stallone's action scenes weren't all movie magic. He did most of his own stunts, and the injuries prove it. While filming Escape to Victory, He tried blocking a goal from soccer legend Pelé and ended up with a broken finger. But that was just the beginning. On the set of Rocky IV, Stallone urged Dolph Lundgren to go all in. "Punch me as hard as you can in the chest," he said. And Lundgren did. The next thing Stallone remembered? Waking up in intensive care. "Next thing I know, I was in intensive care at St. John's Hospital for 4 days. It's stupid," he later admitted. While filming The Expendables, a brutal fight with pro wrestler Steve Austin went wrong. The result? A broken neck and emergency surgery to implant a metal plate. These moments weren't just movie thrills. They were dangerous gambles with his own health. Off-screen, Stallone found himself facing scandals, lawsuits, and legal drama, turning headlines into nightmares. In 2001, a woman named Margie Carr accused Stallone of assaulting her at a gym. His team denied it and claimed she had already sold the story to tabloids. Then in 2007, Australian customs officials discovered 48 vials of human growth hormone in his luggage. At a hearing in May, Stallone pleaded guilty and was officially charged. It was a shocking moment for a global icon. In 2013, reports revealed Stallone had paid his half-sister Toni and Felitti $2 million in 1987. She had accused him of abuse. Stallone's team claimed she was struggling with addiction and trying to blackmail him. But her son, Ed Felitti, insisted she had spoken about the abuse for years. In 2016, another woman said Stallone forced her into a sexual encounter with his bodyguard in Las Vegas back in 1986. She claimed she was only 16 at the time. Stallone denied everything. His ex-wife Bridget Nielsen defended him, saying she was with him during that trip. Actor David Mendenhall also stood by Stallone, saying he never introduced the girl to him. A second woman stepped forward in 2017, accusing Stallone of assaulting her in the 1990s. He denied that claim too. His lawyer stated the woman only came forward after a news site refused to publish her story. They also revealed Stallone had briefly dated her in 1987 and had witnesses to back up his version. In 2018, police turned the case over to the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. But by October, it was officially dropped due to lack of evidence and no credible witnesses. Stallone then filed a report, saying the woman had lied in her statements. He was constantly balancing glory and grief, lawsuits and legacies, punches and pain. Stallone and Bruce Willis, two giants of the action world, were once good friends. They shared laughs, war stories, and blockbuster credits. When The Expendables hit theaters in 2010, Stallone had written and directed a dream team of action icons, including Willis, who played Mr. Church, a mysterious CIA operative. His role was short, but powerful. The movie was a hit, and in The Expendables 2, Willis returned as Mr. Church. On screen, their chemistry was gold. Off-screen, they were seen as brothers in arms. But something cracked beneath the surface. It wasn't about the script or the stunts. It was about money. Stallone offered Willis $3 million for just 4 days of work. But Willis wanted $4 million. That extra million became the wedge that shattered their friendship. Stallone didn't pull him aside. He didn't sugarcoat it. He took it public. Stallone fired off a post saying, "Greedy and lazy, a sure formula for career failure." He didn't name names, but everyone knew who he meant. It was a direct hit. Fans gasped, headlines erupted, and the media ran wild with it. He replaced Willis with Harrison Ford. There was no apology, no second chance. It was a hard message. Loyalty matters, and there's no room for ego on this set. What started as a simple money issue spiraled into a full-blown war, fueled by pride, ego, and betrayal. The fallout was messy, public, and permanent. A friendship shattered by silence. After Stallone's fiery tweet, Bruce Willis didn't clap back. He didn't say a word. No interviews. No tweets. Nothing. He simply walked away. Some insiders claimed he wanted new roles. Others said it was just about the money. But whatever the truth was, one thing was clear. He was done with The Expendables. And this wasn't the first time Willis had said no to Stallone. Around the same time, Stallone offered him a spot in his Escape Plan franchise. Willis turned it down again. That role then went to Arnold Schwarzenegger. And the movie became a massive hit, growing into a franchise that raked in over $122 million. It seemed like Stallone had no choice but to move on, and he did. The two stars went their separate ways, and for a while, it looked like the friendship was over for good. But sometimes, time changes everything. Then came a surprising twist. In 2014, Stallone went back to Twitter, not with shade, but with an apology. He admitted he had been too harsh. He said he and Bruce had made up. Fans were shocked and relieved. The once broken bond had been repaired. The action legends were friends again. But fate wasn't finished with their story. In 2022, the world was crushed by heartbreaking news. Bruce Willis had been diagnosed with aphasia, a condition that affects a person's ability to speak, write, and even understand language. His family shared the announcement online and revealed that he would step away from acting for good. It was a painful moment for everyone, especially Stallone. In an emotional interview, Stallone said, "Bruce is going through some really, really difficult times. So he's been sort of incommunicado. That kills me. It's so sad." Even though they weren't in regular contact, Stallone made it crystal clear he still cared. He praised Willis, prayed for his strength, and sent love to his family. The old feud didn't matter anymore. What mattered was respect, loyalty, and friendship. Their bond had taken a beating, but survived. And as fans watched, they saw something rare in Hollywood: forgiveness. A tale of rivals turned to respect. Before The Expendables, Stallone and Willis had already crossed paths in surprising ways. Did you know that Stallone actually turned down the role of John McClane in Die Hard? That role went to Bruce and changed his career forever. Willis became the new king of action. Through the 90s and 2000s, he dominated the box office. Meanwhile, Stallone had already built an empire with Rocky and Rambo. But instead of envy, there was admiration. Stallone once said he respected Bruce's talent deeply. That's what made their friendship so real. They both knew the cost of climbing to the top. Still, business can break even the strongest bonds. The money dispute during The Expendables 3 left a deep scar. Stallone's public comments were sharp. Willis's silence spoke volumes. But time wore the anger down. In later interviews, Stallone admitted he regretted how he handled it. He said he wished things had gone differently. Then came Bruce's diagnosis, and everything changed. Stallone stopped talking about contracts and money. Instead, he focused on kindness. In a touching moment with a Hollywood Reporter, he said, "I still think about Bruce often, even if we can't talk now. It's so sad. That kills me." As of 2025, their connection remains. They're not sharing scenes anymore, but Stallone still speaks of Bruce with warmth. He posts updates, supports the family, and honors the memories they made together. Their friendship is no longer loud and flashy. It's quiet, it's respectful, and it's real. In the end, this wasn't just about two actors. It was about pain, pride, and the power of making things right. It was about two legends who battled ego, illness, and misunderstanding, and still found a way back to friendship.